This is a follow-up video to yesterday's video on unconditional love. And this seems like an insurmountable task to love people unconditionally. Where does one even begin? And it's such a cliche, we should love everyone unconditionally. And, we probably count on one hand the amount of people that we personally know that do that, if that. So, what's the big obstacle? The big gulf that separates us from practicing unconditional love is identification with ego, identification with mine, identification with labels and separateness. And it's strange because we love to categorize people based on what they do, based on their power, their position, their job title, their looks. And when you think about it, we all come from the same great, to the infinity grandparents. And deep within us, beyond what we see from the physical, is our true nature. It's our spirit. And the spirit is like a ribbon that is interwoven throughout every human being and then connected after 6.5 billion people, connected with a beautiful little bow tie. And this is why when we harm other people or we get angry with other people, there's a oneness that we could feel because we feel the anger or the hurt or the pain. And it's looking beyond people's ego. And some people are so trapped and inured and really imprisoned by their ego, so identified with their ego as who they are, the physical realm, their job position, and all these external things, their age, their physical beauty, all these things make them either happy or sad based on what goes on. And when we look beyond this and we see people's true nature and people that are, might get on our nerves and bother us, when we look beyond their ego, we can have compassion because we can say, man, we struggle. We as individuals struggle with ego. So we can imagine what the burden they must be carrying to have a really, really strong, inured ego. It's suffocating. And we could see the spirit behind the ego, because really, when you strip all that away, really what everybody wants is to be loved. I mean, that's it. We all just want to be loved. You take it from, doesn't matter if race, culture, creed, religion, ethnicity, social echelon, wealth, status. From every spectrum, we just want to be loved. And a lot of us have fallen into the trap of trying to be loved, manufacturing love by manipulating people, by having a lot of money and using our money to get love, or using our power to get love, or using our beauty to get love. So deep within everybody is just a little child that wants to be loved. And all the other stuff is just kind of debris and smoke or fog that becomes a barrier for that person and you connecting. So if they're not able to see beyond the smoke and fog, you, as a benefit to your own spiritual growth, see beyond the fog and the debris and the labels and their external identity. And really, it's, everything in nature, there is good and bad, and people good and bad, and us good and bad, and pros and cons, and yin and yang. And it takes some consciousness and practice to really focus on the good in people and shine the light on their strengths and their attributes. This society and culture, we have embraced artificially propping ourselves up by finding the flaws in others, and that makes us feel good artificially and temporarily. Oh, that person, that famous person, they have all this money and look at them, they're still miserable. Oh, I feel better about myself, or whatever the situation is. And let's just let things be. It's like looking at the sun. If humans had the ability to control and maneuver the sun and say, okay, I want the sun here now and the sun there now, and sun come a little bit at a different angle so it's cooler here. We would as human beings if we had the ability. But we don't have that ability, thankfully. And we could just appreciate the sun for what it is. Just let it be. We could just admire the sun for its beauty and glory and life-giving capabilities. But just like in people, it also can cause skin cancer. It could also cause blindness if you stare into it too long. It could also cause deserts, like lack of global warming, lack of rain. We're causing global warming, but you get my drift. It has its good aspects, its bad aspects. But to get to the place where we can unconditionally love others, we just need to let them be. Just let them be and accept them. I'm not talking about unconditional love doesn't mean you have to be all phony and superficially nice. Oh, hi, how are you? I'm so sorry, and are you doing well? No, it's not that. Unconditional love can mean, radical honesty with the person. But unconditional love is a gentleness and acceptance and an attentiveness, an awareness, a consciousness when you're engaging with that person. They feel that you're there, that you're not wrapped up in your mind, not thinking about what you want to say next, not thinking about your own agenda or needing to control or influence them. You just let them be. Like a beautiful flower. We could just sit and admire a flower and say, man, that flower is beautiful. I don't need to own it. I don't need to pick it. But I could just let it be and accept it for what it is. And the way that the opening for unconditional love and really for enlightenment or spiritual liberation. See, everyone thinks it's so hard, unconditional love. How am I going to unconditionally love all these other people? And we try to do it with their ego. We say, okay, I'm going to be nice to this person. I'm going to accept this person. And it's kind of a forced egoic action that is very temporal and doesn't last. But when the secret, the answer is really starting within. And again, it's a cliche, but when we unconditionally and accept ourselves, when we don't see ourselves based on our external appearance, on our labels, on our status, on our wealth, on our career, on where we're going, if we're achieved something in life. But when we could just connect with our spirit and say, you know what? God imbued within me this power source or this just deep sense of tranquility and inner peace. And it's there. It's just a matter of peeling away all the junk. When we connect with that and we accept ourselves exactly the way we are, not needing, okay, I accept myself, but I need to change this. We spend our whole lives trying to change ourselves. And what does it create? It creates endless frustration. But really, it creates an inability to accept other people. So when we first embrace all of our qualities, good, bad, and ugly, and go within and just feel that inner joy, man, unconditionally loving other people becomes effortless.